He's got goals.
13. So
really didn't matter. Mickey defended Kentucky.
No scriptwriter could have ever written a better story.
Well, hello there and a very warm welcome to you wherever you may be watching from around the world to this very special edition of the In and Out studio here on Clip My Horse TV on the weekend of the Dutch Masters. We are, of course, bringing you all of the action from 's-Hertogenbosch, and today it is the day of days. It is Rolex Grand Prix Day. It is part of that Rolex Grand Slam. It is up for grabs. It is a red-hot list that come forward this afternoon, and boy, have we got all of the sport and the action for you here on Clip My Horse TV. I'm Amy Parks. It's a pleasure to be with you, and I'm not alone in the studio today. Sitting in the analyst chair alongside me is Rosie Russell. Rosie, welcome.
Thank you very much. I'm delighted to be here. We had that fantastic 1m50 class last night, but today, as you say, the Rolex Grand Slam, and some names we have coming forward.
Literally like, it's more names than the Oscars red carpet, so you don't need to be bothered watching that. Just stay with us here in the In and Out studio. There is plenty coming your way. It is an incredible show. Of course, it has been running all week. We've had so much activity, dressage included, as well as all of those feature classes there in 's-Hertogenbosch at the Dutch Masters. What do we know about this show? We want to give you 4 fast facts then about the Dutch Masters. It's also known as Indoor Brabant Horse Show. That's how it started in its history all that time ago. 4 days of top-level dressage and show jumping across that course of the week. The feature classes, of course, include that indoor derby class, as well as the best of champions, where the riders swap horses with each other to compete across a course of show jumps. And over the course of those 4 days, €1.2 million in prize money is given away. What a show it is. We have had our intrepid reporter, Hannah Robson, down on the scene for us this week. She is there. Hannah, give us a feel of how things are today, the day of all days at the Dutch Masters.
Yes, great to be here, Amy. It really is an incredible event. You know, yesterday we were saying how impressive all the facilities are. I would say it's even busier today than it was yesterday. Lots of spectators here. The shopping village is quite expansive, so they're all having a good look around there, but enjoying some food and some hospitality as well. And then earlier on today, we actually had a winning round competition, so another 5-star class, and that was won by Richard Vogel. He's actually been very successful this week. That's his 3rd win of the week. He's been winning with some of his younger or more up-and-coming horses, so potentially could be one to watch in this Rolex Grand Prix, as he may be looking to continue his successful streak this week, and of course he'd be quite a popular winner as well. But the atmosphere is absolutely building. It's really interesting being positioned here next to the warm-up arena as well, because we can see when the riders get on their horses and what preparations they go through. Abdel Saeed is getting on his horses quite early on, just really getting them relaxed in the warm-up ring. He did the same thing yesterday as well. That's quite interesting to notice. Harry Smolders has also been just behind us here, warming up his ride as well. And so some of them, I think, are looking to get the horses settled, just getting them a bit loosened up before they then have a little break, before, of course, they do their final preparations for their rounds. Of course, something that's quite interesting as well today, we're looking at Kent Farrington. Of course, we haven't been able to see him all week with his injury. Now he's really targeting this competition, as I'm sure you guys are going to delve into in the studio. He really could be one to watch as well. I've already seen him just behind me, feeling in good form, and as ever, he is a man that targets the competitions that he wants to perform well in, so I'm sure he has done the same thing today. Similarly, Ben Mayer, we haven't seen him jumping a huge amount this week, and he's also already been near to us here, so another one who's also looking quite relaxed, looking good ahead of this big Grand Prix. But it's certainly, as you just said, is such an incredible list of horses and riders, you know, some real stars, and can't wait to see how it all plays out.
Oh, lovely. Thank you so much, Hannah. Yeah, absolutely. She's really in the thick of everything there, right down by that warm-up, and it is lovely to see It often does happen. We see the riders get those horses out early, give them a feel, get them relaxed, do their flat work nice and early so they're settled, comfortable, do their jumps, a few fences before they go in and jump those big sticks in the main arena. So interesting to know about all the prep that's going on there. We want to take a quick diversion because there's been a lot going on in the equestrian community over the last couple of weeks, sort of off the back of the situation that's unfolding in the Middle East. Of course, the great focus is the human devastation that's occurring and all of the impact it's having on the world at large, but it has a trickle-down effect into our community in that there are events going on in the area and some of those horses, riders, teams were effectively, for want of a better word, sort of stranded without the ability to come home when the shows were inevitably cancelled. We do know that this week, World of Show Jumping actually carried the article, and we've seen a lot of the riders taken to social media to say that their horses have come home. And we know that I think it's something like 174 horses were transported and arrived back in Europe this week. So safely home for a lot of those riders. And I know, Rosie, from your perspective, this is something you've had immediate eyes on because you were actually out in the Middle East just before everything broke out.
Yes, I was out there at Al Shakab commentating, as you say, just a few days before it all happened. And like you say, firstly, it's so sad that this is happening in the world, and our thoughts go out to anybody who has been affected directly by it. But for the horses that were out there, the riders or grooms who were out there, if they did get stranded at Al Shakab, it's lovely to know that they were treated exceptionally well. The facilities there are just mind-boggling how fantastic they are. The horses had turnout, there was air conditioning, you named it, they had it. It was amazing there. So it's really nice to know that horses, riders and grooms were treated very well when they were stranded there, but it's great to have them back and have them home safe.
Yeah, certainly for our industry, it is something that had a major impact, but like Rosie suspected, one particular rider who was impacted directly is actually in Den Bosch this week. It is Abdul Sayed, and he gave us a few quick words on how it impacted him.
So first of all, I really have to say and give a lot of credit to the organizers and to the country. They have been incredible, how they adapted to the situation and tried to help and tried to, take care of all of us, horses and staff. The tour started amazing, normal, very competitive. Scott was winning everything and we were all trying hard. And at some moment, I was traveling a lot between Doha and Dubai because I had my main group, most of our students, a lot going on in Dubai, flying back and forth. And at a certain moment, I couldn't fly into Doha for the GCT. And then, no one knew when it was going to end, and that's scary, It's for our staff also. What do I tell them? I'm responsible for my groom, but what can I tell her? So the communication was really good from the horse show. They really, really tried their best. And the moment there was an opening in the sky, I don't think even commercial flights were already flying, and they really got the horses home safe and sound, which was really nice to see. And it gives me a lot of confidence to go back there when everything is settled, hopefully.
Yeah, nice words there from Abdul saying hopefully when everything is settled and we can get back to normal. Incredibly tragic as it continues to unfold. But what we're going to do now is turn our attention to what we do best, and that's keeping your mind on something else and keeping you entertained here in the In and Out studio, and focus on this incredible class, this show jumping that is coming your way from Bosch Masters. Now, our intrepid reporter, as we say, Hannah Robson, has been there all week, and we wanted to give you a sneak peek behind the scenes at this incredible venue so you get to know it properly.
This week we are in Bosch for the Dutch Masters, also known as Indoor Brabant. This is one of the legs of the Rolex Grand Slam of show jumping and is one of the most competitive events in the world. Let's take a look inside. Something really unique about this venue is the multiple warm-up rings which are interspersed throughout the shopping village. So quite quickly as you come in the door, you come to this warm-up arena and you can just see some of the dressage riders preparing for those 5-star dressage competitions which are taking place this afternoon, of course all alongside the 5-star jumping. So they come out of that initial warm-up ring, down a small chute, now into this smaller, more of a holding warm-up ring. This is where they'll be just moments before they take to that main arena. And as you can see, it's a hive of activity here too. There's a bar behind me, more shops surrounding this space, and this is the route to the main arena. Well, this is the trophy that they are all going for this weekend. Of course, the Dutch Masters is one of only 4 Rolex Grand Slam of show jumping events in the world, and this is set to be a big one. Well, we've made it to the main arena, and right now the stage is set for the World Cup dressage, but of course this is also the stage for the 5-star show jumping. The top 3 in the world are here to compete and go for the top title in Sunday's Grand Prix. That is, of course, world number 1 Scott Brash, the current world number 2 and Rolex Grand Slam live contender Farrington, and world number 3 Ben Mayer. Those, some of the best in the world, they are here to compete, along with a whole host of others from across the globe. And Sunday's Grand Prix is set to be a serious showdown.
Oh, super stuff there. And Hannah just running us through that list of names. I mean, you're just dropping them. She's just dropping them all over the arena, wasn't she? She's still bent down trying to pick them all up. There's so many big names of show jumping. It's incredible, the narrative that is coming out of today's show. There's so much to dig into, which we are going to. And when we talk about those incredible names, one of those incredible names is Steve Guerdat. He is there today, the big Stevie G. He's your favourite, the G-Meister, the G-Man, Steve Guerdat. And he had a great win last night. We had the privilege of watching and looking at that one. And we're going to take a look at his winning round now.
With one of the most decorated riders in the modern sport, Steve Guerdat. You can see the determination in the opening round to get into a position to jump off tonight. He is going to need to find all of his magic to get in front of Harry. Unbelievably tight. Full throttle. Look at this. He found 2/10 already. It's nip and tuck. Even Stevens, 800ths. Over the Audi fence, and he's found 7/10. That was always going to be where you could make up time. Is it enough? Steve Guerdat. He's got one left to jump. He sits back. He jumps in and he rides to the line. The magic is there tonight. He is a magician like not many others. Steve Guerdat, and Lance Lotter, he looked like a man on a mission tonight from the moment he arrived in the arena in that first round. And boy, oh boy, has he just delivered. Look at this for a turn. And the speed to which he can accelerate from that sort of position is just, it's like no one else. Well, could that be the winning round? Under normal circumstances, I'd say yes, but this is not a normal show.
Not a normal show, as Gareth is saying there. Yes, he did go on to retain that lead and take that win aboard Lance Lotter there. And Hannah caught up with him in the winners' interview last night, and he did say he's bringing Yashin Sitter forward today for this Grand Prix. That is a big focus for him, and we're super excited to see how he goes. We're going to talk a little bit more about that later on, but we're getting into now what you're expecting this afternoon. We want to really set this up for you because this is a very important class. We want to dig into how it fits into the greater scheme of our show jumping sport. It is, of course, as Hannah said earlier, part of the Rolex Grand Slam. What is the Rolex Grand Slam? Well, let's have a look at 4 fast facts about it. It started in 2013, this particular series, and includes those 4 events. They are Stergenbosch, which is the Dutch Masters where we find ourselves now, Geneva, Spruce Meadows, and of course Aachen. I almost did it, Rosie. I was nearly going to forget one with my fluffy head. You have to win 3 in a row. That's how it works. If you win 3 in a row, you get the title, you get that Grand Slam title and €1 million as a bonus. If you win 4, you win all 4 of them on the trot, a further $1 million in your pocket. And there's only one rider in history who has ever done it. And coincidentally, he is the world #1 and he is on site in Den Bosch today, looking to bring forward Shadora Lady, and that's Scott Brash. He's in the mix today, but the live contender is, of course, Kent Farrington. Let's talk about this Rolex Grand Prix. As we said, it's part of the Rolex Grand Slam series. It joined that series in 2018, taking it from 3 events to 4 events, making it slightly different and more competitive. It's a CSI 5-star, so the very top level of show jumping. It is 1.60 m. They don't get bigger than that. It's a table A, what we'd call it table A are the rules with a jump off. So 1 round where you must go clear and within the time. You're then entitled to go through to the jump off, where of course it's all about speed and precision. The prize money today on offer in this particular class then is €1 million. Not to mention a little bit more if you're Kent Farrington and you happen to win it as well. So, with all that in mind then, we've set the tone for what we're expecting in this class. Who are our previous winners when it comes to this Rolex series? Let's take a look. There's some familiar faces and names. There's the only winner of that Rolex Grand Slam, as we said, that is Mr. Scott Brash. And if you look there, other winners in terms of these Grand Slam majors, so these big classes at Aachen, at the Dutch Masters, in Spruce Meadows, I'm going to do it again, and Geneva. Martin Fuchs, Daniel Deusser, Marcus Enning, Steve Guerdat, Kent Farrington, McLean Wood, Philip Weissel, Christian Arman and Niels Brunsels. A veritable litter of names there, as you can see, multiple wins among them, and they have done incredible things in Shozy. Let's talk about then. It's all in play. He is on board, ready to rock. He has had a quiet week, as Hannah said. He's had carrying a bit of an injury, the old Kent Farrington. Carrying an injury. We saw him jump very early in the week. He's had a little bit of a run around out on the arena and then stayed very quiet for the last few days, but we will see him this afternoon. He's told Hannah he's ready to go. He is a testimony. He is, of course, the live contender. We can't say that enough. He won in Geneva. He has 3 victories to his name. His most recent, of course, being Geneva in 2025, the end of 2025 there, which is what makes him the live contender. Very exciting stuff. We're going to look now then. I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm getting very excited about all of this. We want to have a look at Kent Farrington's round from Geneva, because this is what stands him in the possibility of taking this crown. It's going to be very exciting. Let's have a look at his winning round from Geneva.
That, of course, was Aachen, the winner from 2017, here in Geneva. He was miffed for missing out on the win in the top 10 the other night. Get set for the world #1. It's time for Greer and the USA's Kent Farrington.
Look at that approach. Went right in the corner, took the oxer on the angle. Not cutting strides out, but this is tighter. Absolutely, and faster into that double. Now, how tight can he go back here? Oh, what a peach of a stride.
Silky smooth all the way, and look at the speed. He's got caught 3/4 of a second.
And he's picked one up off the corner. It makes such a difference. Keeping it together.
Is it good
enough?
Oxer. Will it be his second win in Geneva? Could it be his 3rd major? Could it be? It's something special. It's 40.04 for Kent Farrington as he delivers the leading round on Greer. The world #1 moves to the top. Catch him if you can. There are still 3 to go, but that was pretty impressive.
That was something special, as you said. That was really, really class. And I think he's going to go out the ring thinking, I couldn't have done any more than that.
Super stuff, and that's what makes him the live contender as we head down towards the sport today. Hannah Robson is down by the warm-up, and she's joined by Petronella Anderson.
Yes, exactly. Petronella Andersson joining me here, who's had a very solid week so far. Petronella, talk to us about your week and how it's all been going for you.
Well, no complaints so far. I have 3 very good horses here, and very pleased to be here. It's my first time riding here. So, yeah, very exciting weekend. And like you said, we started off good. Today is going to be a tough track. All the best riders, very good horses. So, yeah, we're going to have to keep it together to be able to do something today.
So talk to us about the horse you have today, because this one has jumped well so far this week too.
I'm riding Odina. She's a very special mare to me. I think we have a good bond. I know her for a long time. I started riding her as a 7-year-old. She's already been doing some very good results at high level. She's been very competitive lately also. So yeah, I would say we're going in today with at least a good feeling. Like, we started off well here. We were second on the first day in the big class. So yeah, I have a good feeling with her, and if I usually don't mess things up, she normally jumps clear. So I hope I can do that today.
Fingers crossed. So looking ahead then to your draw, of course, as you say, you've done well earlier in the week and it's a little bit impacted by that, but you're going quite late in this class today. How does that impact things for you in your preparation?
I wouldn't say that's a big difference for me, because Udina, she maybe doesn't have the biggest stride, so normally I anyway need to stick a little bit to my plan. Like I said, I know her pretty well, so usually I walk the course. Of course, it's always nice to watch some horses go, but yeah, in the end, it's I need to stick a little bit to my plan and try to have her well prepared for what's coming.
You mentioned briefly there that this is your first time riding here. You've got to tell us, how are you finding it?
It's an exceptional show. It's, in my opinion, one of the absolute best indoor shows. And so, yeah, it's a privilege to be here, of course, and to be given the opportunity to be here and to learn and, yeah, keep growing in the sport.
Fantastic. We can't wait to see you in action. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
We'll let you get on with your course walk. Thank you so much.
You. See you.
Well, Petronella Andersson there, you know, we've talked about some of the names like Scott Brash, Kent Farrington, Ben Mayer, but she has been very, very consistent this week. Could be a dark horse and might be one of my picks of one to watch.
Brilliant. Well noted, Hannah. We will put that down on paper, one to watch, and dark horse, pardon the pun. I love it. I love it when we're able to say that. It really just feels like a small victory for me. Good stuff. Loving that, and lovely to hear from Petronella before she heads off to walk the course. Rosie, we're going to dig in now. It's time to get into our analysis, of course, provided as always by our wonderful colleagues at Equiratings. It's time to get started, really dig into what's to come ahead of us in this class. Let's take a look then at the Dutch Masters Rolex Grand Prix for 2026. Plenty to dig into. Now, Rosie, I think this show is steeped in history, but of course this particular class being part of this Rolex Grand Slam, relatively new in history. But the interesting part about this, when we talk about the Equiratings numbers, in terms of the field strength, just how powerful these combinations are that come forward in this class. In 2025, this was the top rated class for Equiratings in terms of field strength. This was the toughest lot that they had out there in 2025. And when you think about the number of incredible show jumping classes we see across the year, this being the absolute standout in terms of the stats, the data, the numbers, is really something and very, very impressive. Can it do it again in 2026? So this is going to kick off from the start. As I said, it's better than the Oscars red carpet. There's so many names, it's absolutely ridiculous. It is absolutely star-studded. So many great, hello Shadora lady. There is the Richie Vogel versus the whole story with Mr. Kent Farrington. They are really tight in terms of percentages and numbers, which we will look at. Incredible stories. The live contender in the mix. Can he do it? So much tension around it.
There's so much, and as you say, can the live contender go up against world number one? There's just so many battles to unfold, and a lot of these big names are coming within the first 10 horses, which is absolute madness. Like, we are off from the start, meaning business, watching top class sport, which we're so lucky to be able to do. But as we also head further down our start list, the likes of Ben Mayer, Anjou de Grierson, another pair who are really, really talented. They've actually just come off a win at a 155 in Wellington, so they're in good form. Great to know. We actually have last year's winner as well, Simon de Lestre, coming forwards, this time with Golden Boy. So he knows what it takes to win here. And also we have Monaco coming forwards, who is our last to go. Monaco, of course, with Harry Schmolders. So many big names that you actually lose track of how many there is.
This is the thing.
Exactly.
So many. Like, look, and then I think that's the best place to start. If we look at the previous winners, if it really sets us up for just how important this class is. It's been formative to so many combinations in terms of their career, or it's been an absolute highlight, I think. And it just shows you the power of this particular class if you look at that list of names.
100%, because, you know, just a few to point out, like H.H. Azur and McLean Ward, you see on the list there. What a horse that was for McLean, and their partnership and what they went on to do, such a big part of his overall career success. And then also, if we have a little look at Henrik von Eckermann to Vex Mary Lou, the horse that was kind of, and this win was kind of like a springboard on for Henrik to go and win and dominate like he did with King Edward and produce the fantastic results that he did. So it's fantastic and fascinating to look at these winners to see how they got here and what they went on to do, and how this class was so important in shaping their careers and their future.
Yeah, exactly. So there's actually a really interesting point that we can see from the numbers. Every winner has had at least 3 podiums at 160 level. So this is the kind of talent that we're seeing come forward to win this class. They are having consistent podiums at that level, at the top of the sport. And 6 of the 7 previous winners has also recorded 160 podium within the previous 12 months.
Yeah, they're on fantastic form. Most, as you say, have had those podiums. Most have also had wins at 160. So you've got to be in good form. You've got to be performing, because this is the Dutch Masters, the Rolex Grand Prix. It's a huge competition, and that's why we're seeing the top class names like we are coming forward, bringing their best horses, and it's going to be a tough competition.
Yeah, and is while that we know that every winner has at least 3 podiums at that level coming in, no winner had been clear in their last 3 160 rounds coming to this. So there'd been this sort of hit of form, then a comeback, slow burn, taking the win in this one and being a big victory. So a really interesting narrative around the sport as it comes forward. We need to take a look at the field. Equiratings always want to have a look at the prediction of how many of these combinations are going to make it through to the jump off. This is the table there. The number predicted today is 9, and the field in total, we have 37 combinations coming forward.
Yeah, it's really interesting to look at a table like this, because as you can see from that first round, roughly there's an average of 25% of the riders that will jump clear. So roughly 25% will make it into that jump off, and that is then where we see them go fast and go for it. So across 430 starters, this data is coming from. So it is a big field. They've dug deep into the analysis, and that is where they get that 25% coming forwards that will hopefully make it into the jump off.
Yeah, and course building, because of those that do make the jump off, just over half, so 51%, will go clear again, which tells you that the jump off, they're not sort of just having a laugh. They do sort of, you know, there is quite a challenge there. It's not a formality.
No.
Again, key part of this competition, and we need then, I think, to look at the clear chances, because this is going to, I mean, when you look at the form, it's easy to say, oh, it's so unlikely, but you know, we've seen it happen in the sport of show jumping. You just never know on the day, but according to the numbers, this is our most likely to make it through to that jump off.
Well, we've mentioned him already because he is the live contender, but Kent Farrington and Toilana coming forwards with that 60% clear chance. Now, amazing. They are really, really strong. They're always very dangerous when they're jumping for the other competitors. You see Kent on the list and you're thinking, oh gosh, this is going to be a challenge. But they're on fantastic form because they've had 2 international runs so far this year, jumped clear in both of them. And they were both big tracks. They were Grand Prix and also a World Cup qualifier, both out in thermal. So they're coming in with good form from big competitions as well. So, I mean, although it's not loads of jumping at the start of the year, Kent knows what he's doing. He knows how to save his horse. He knows when to perform. So I think he stands a really, really good chance. But also United Touch and Richard Vogel just behind there on 58%. The European champions, they are just phenomenal. I can't wait to watch them.
Yeah, incredibly popular, but also just incredibly, 58% there. So consistent, and one of the most, I'd say, consistent riders at this level with this particular horse. And we know this is an incredible combination to watch, isn't it?
They are, and I was so lucky to watch. I was talking to lots of people and everybody was saying what a sensitive horse he is, exceptionally talented, but very sensitive. So Richard has to do a great job of keeping him calm, riding him how he wants to. It can unravel, but to be able to ride like he doesn't look sensitive when you watch him because it's just a beautiful picture and he makes it look so easy. And the horse is just a phenomenal jumper, so clean. So I think it's a testament to them both, how they're performing so well.
Yeah, and he's amazing in real life too, United Touch. I mean, they all are, all these amazing. When you see him, United Touch, he reminds me of one of those animatronic dinosaurs. He looks almost unreal. He's so beautiful in the way he moves. And, you know, there's a cluster there in the low 50s too. We're talking about Gilles Thomas and Callista, Steve Guerdat and Yashan Sita. I mean, you hate to say these names are fine. They're huge names with incredible consistency. And Harry Schmolders and Monaco, who you touched on as well, at 50%. So that's been, you know, they've been a fixture at the sharp end of these big classes for so long, haven't they?
Oh, they have, and it would be really great for them to pull it off today and see if they can get the win because, you know, on home soil as well, the crowd will be behind them. So a lot going for them, but also as we head further down, Scott Brash, Hello Shadora Lady. I mean, Scott on absolute flying form, as we know, world #1. He'll be coming and meaning business. Sophie Hinners, Iron Dame Sinclair as well, 47%. The names are just phenomenal, and the data is backing up that these are the. It's going to be a good class.
Yeah, incredible list of names. One of the names that's on there, and this has been sort of a slow burn in terms of a story. He's the former world #1, and that is Henrik von Eckermann. He's competing here today. He's got a lovely string of horses at the show this week. He's been rebuilding a little bit in terms of his team. We obviously know him and the great man, King Edward. We know that amazing story. He's still ticking along there at home. But he's got some interesting horses here this week, and he is our rider in focus. He's a previous winner here, as we said earlier, with Tovek's Mary Lou, which really set up such an amazing trajectory in his new era for Henrik, as we said. And Kassira, a really interesting horse, has 2 podiums at 155 5-star level, including a 3rd at their last show, which is Sharjah, and that was a World Cup show, and 7 international podiums. So a real superstar here for Henrik, I think. Today, and we had, well, Hannah had the absolute privilege of catching up with him as our rider in focus there in St. Bosch this week.
Henrik von Eckermann, and I am at the Dutch Masters. I have 3 horses. It's Khaleesi and Kassira. Kassira that I jumped in also in Geneva in the Grand Prix. She's fairly new for me. And then I have a new horse that I only have for a week. Her name is Emerin, and she's the one who's going to go the smaller speed classes to go. Okay, quite new is also, I mean, now I had her for 8-9 months, but still for this type of class, what comes on Sunday is quite a step. And like I said, in Geneva, it's a little bit different. Geneva is a very big ring. She have a big stride, so that suited her very well. Have to see now in this ring was a little bit smaller ring, and yeah, we'll see how we get along with that. If you don't do the World Cup final, I would say this is one of the last, but one of the important indoor shows. I mean, it's one of the Rolex series and won the Grand Slam, so it's an important one, and it's a very nice show. It's very close to my home, so I have a lot of good things. Yeah, it's the ring is not huge. I mean, compared to then Geneva, what was the last Rolex show, it's completely different. The audience is very close to us. The ring is quite compact, but it's always a good atmosphere. It's always fully packed, and yeah, it's the best of the best in the end, and it's always a good class on Sunday. We'll see in the end. Been mixing a little bit. One year was a few clears. Last year we almost didn't have any clears, so we'll see where it ends up this year. Of course, I would like to win the Rolex Grand Slam one day, but you know, we keep on trying, but show by show.
Always lovely to hear from Henrik von Eckermann there and give us a bit of insight into how things are going for him at the moment. He really is an insightful guy, and it's lovely to hear from him. He always has so much wisdom to share. So lovely to hear from him. We are about to go down and have a chat with our reporter Hannah Robson, who is down by the arena, by the warm-up arena. She's going to bring us up to speed with everything that is happening down there, because we're getting dangerously close to the live sport now. Hannah, how's it all unfolding?
I quite enjoy that phrase there, Amy, dangerously close. It's sometimes how I feel standing here with some of the speed these riders are coming past me. But yes, we are getting very close to the start time, of course, of this competition. And something that I just wanted to draw your attention to, we do, of course, have some of those very biggest names that you've already alluded to earlier on. There we have it, very, very close to us here indeed. But some of these big names are very early to go in this class. So Scott Brash is here warming up. He's first to go. Of course, world number one, we may have expected some of those higher seeded riders, if you like, to be later on in the draw or later on in the order, but he is first to go. Kent Farrington is very early on as well. Of course, we know he's the live contender, but he has had a very quiet week so far, and that's, of course, had an impact on his starting order as well. Richie Vogel, he goes early too. He's again been very consistent, mentioned earlier. He's had a few wins already this week, but he's also somebody that often we're used to seeing later in these classes. So it's going to be really interesting to see how this plays out, because on paper we could expect perhaps to see quite a few clears early on with some of those really, really top contenders. But I'm sure it's going to be a serious ride from start to finish. And yeah, we can't wait to see how this one plays out. Also, just draw your attention to, I don't know if you can see behind me, but the edges of this warm-up arena are completely filled with spectators. It's almost like you're in the main arena here. They are really making the most of the opportunity to be able to get so close to these riders as they're warming up, and really there's hardly any space around the fencing around here. So it's great to see the competitors so kind of cheered on by these spectators and see them really making the most of that opportunity and really getting into things down at the warm-up.
Yeah, super stuff. Thank you very much, Hannah. And that is very, very true. It's so nice for everybody who's there to watch that show to get up close and personal with those horses and riders, because it's something else when you are seeing it in person as well. But hopefully you're going to enjoy every minute of it here watching on Clip My Horse TV as well. And when we said dangerously close, she literally looked like she was going to get run over by whoever it was canting around behind her. So she's like the Bridget Jones of equestrian sport. Is our Hannah Robson. We put her in the mix, don't we? We really put her in the firing line. We've got to dig into this analysis even further now, Rosie. We're going to get down to the pointy end of things, as I like to say, and we're going to have a look at these riders that come into this competition now as the ones on form, because that often tells a real tale as we look at who our winners might be. And there's one clear standout there.
She's absolutely flying. Sophie Hinners, Iron Dame Sinclair. If you look at that graphic, you can just see the rounds at 17 are phenomenal. Now, this is over the last 12 months at 5-star and championship level at 1.60 meters. 17 rounds, 11 clears. Like, that clear rate of 65% is exceptional, especially from that volume of rounds. The consistency is remarkable, and that is why she's at the top of that leaderboard, because it's not often you can perform at the top level of the sport and with that level of consistency throughout. It's really, really challenging and should not be underestimated at all.
No, and it's so interesting. You know, we've spoken ad nauseum about Kent Farrington and Tulane there, but Sophie just quietly chipping away. And because we are talking about form as we come into this Rolex Grand Prix, she just pips him and sits at the top of that list. But of course, he is there, 60% from 15 rounds. This horse, Tulane, we do say is sometimes in the shadow of Greyer, but you know, this is an exceptional horse. And for Dermot Byrne, who I know is probably watching this from Echo Ratings, it's his favourite horse. So a little fun fact about D. Byrne, if you wanted to know. Tulane, he's absolutely his favourite horse. We have a few visitors in the studio with us. Excuse us. Yeah.
They wanted to join the action because they know there's so many to talk about.
Right. They knew this is where the excitement was. They decided to join us. Wow. So we have a look at those ones on form as well. Gilles Thomas and Callista, another one.
Yeah, they're absolutely flying. Another one who has such a large number of rounds at this level, 18 rounds. Their consistency is really, really promising as well on that 56% clear rate. But also another one I want to pick up, one of our favourites, Steve Guerdat. He's doing a fantastic job with all of his rides. He actually won here yesterday, as we saw earlier with Lancelot, beautiful round. But this is the ride that he's had really, really big successes on. They won Leipzig World Cup and they won Helsinki World Cup. So two big, big shows. They're on flying form. 53% is their clear rate. So definitely ones to keep an eye on. And of course, Richard Vogel and United Touch S, another one who's close on that 50% clear rate. But I think, again, for Richard, what I want to pay attention to is the volume of rounds, 22, the highest in the field today. The pair that are just so experienced at this level and consistent. So definitely ones to watch.
Yeah, and another one worth flagging. I mean, we spoke to Petronella earlier. Well, Hannah spoke to Petronella, and Hannah flagged this rider, this combination, as her dark horse for this one, and definitely worth talking about. Only 6 rounds to take the data from, but if you look at the average clear rate of the courses they've jumped on, 24%, they're worth watching today, according to Echo Ratings and according to Hannah Robson. So certainly a pair that we will be keeping an eye on. At the bottom of the table there, we can see that Harry Schmolders is on the list with Monaco. You know, on 45%, but with an ELO rating of 775. And I'm going to say this every single time. It is an ELO rating. It's a fantastic rating which we use in sports, used across many different sports. It doesn't refer to the Electric Light Orchestra pioneered by Jeff Lynne. Nothing to do with music at all. But the ELO rating there for Harry Schmolders is one of the highest in the field. So undeniable quality. I mean, we know this, of this combination. We know these names. So one to keep an eye on as well. So we looked at the ones who bring the form. Let's look at the favourite, and I think there's no doubt. I'm so sorry. We definitely have some visitors in the studio. It's a big fly, if anyone's wondering.
He's getting excited about our favourite.
I'm just wondering, exactly, I'm wondering what it actually is. I don't think it's a fly. I think it's something else. It could be a plane. It's so big. Let's talk about our favourite, Kent Farrington. Apologies, Kent Farrington. He's the one, he is the man, he is the live contender, and he certainly is the favourite when we look at the numbers.
He is, he's on flying form. That's why that fly is so interested in
Exactly.
what we're talking about.
You didn't know.
Yeah, he arrives, as we say, as the Geneva winner, a favourite to become the world champion this summer as well, because of course that World Championship's coming up, and he's riding one of the top 10 rated horse globally. So really, really key piece of information. They're on that perfect form of 2 from 2 that I spoke about, with their 2 clears at that 5-star 1.60 m and that World Cup qualifier in thermal. And they also were second in the IJR Rolex Top 10 final. So, you know, nearly winning one of the most prestigious invitational classes in the world as well. Their form is fantastic, and he will know what's on his shoulders. Like, yes, he's going to have pressure, but he can perform under pressure. We've seen that before, so it's going to be interesting.
He's the Iceman, that is for sure. And so we talked about Tulane, this horse. often in the shadow of Greyer. We said that. And when you look at the data, it's hard to argue with that. We know that Greyer is an out-and-out superstar. But over the last 12 months at five-star level 160, they've gone from 9 to 15. This is Tulane and Kent. That's a 60% clear rate, which puts them right at the top of the field. So 15 appearances there. And you know, what's really caught our eye in 2026, 2 starts, 2 clears, including that CSI 5-star Grand Prix and the World Cup qualifier, as you mentioned. So, you know, they're coming in here with near on perfect form.
They really are, but there's also a young lady who is going to really put them to the test and try and battle for that, because Iron Dame Sinclair, Sophie Hinners have been on fantastic form. As we've mentioned, they were top of our previous graphic, but here they are. We have our favourite Tolana and our form highlight, which is Iron Dame Sinclair. And if you're looking at the rounds, Sophie Hinners tackling the big tracks, 36 rounds there. This is, of course, for their combination career starts at 1.60 m. Tulane there and Kent Farrington 29, 17 clears for them, whereas 20 for Sophie. And that means their clear rate is pretty similar, 58% for Kent and then 56 for Sophie. But where it gets interesting is Kent Farrington and Tulane have 4 wins. Sophie and Iron Dame Sinclair don't have any wins yet. But could today be the day where that all changes? Could they then come out and get that win? They've been knocking on the door. They've been so close. They've had 4 podiums, as you can see from the graphic, but yet to get that win. And then that would just be, what a story it would be if tonight is and take it from Kent Farrington and all the other names, because Sophie's a huge name in herself, but that's why I think it's such a surprise that she doesn't yet have a win at the level with this mare.
Yeah, that's incredible stuff. And we're going to have a look now at who would be dangerous in a jump-off, because we're getting down to the pointy end of things. I can see in my monitor that these riders are finishing up walking the course. But if they're going to make it through this first round, and we've analysed all of that now, if you're in that jump-off, who are you coming up against and who are you most frightened of?
Well, there's some really, really interesting names on this graphic, because if you look at our second on the list there, Peter de Vos, Casual DVZ, because they're a pair with an 83% jump-off clear rate. Now, that's a huge clear rate for a jump-off. That means that they are likely to come in and jump clear, which if there aren't many riders in the jump-off, they would be really ones to watch, because they can produce the clear, and that's where it's really important. They are lacking a little bit of pace on trying to are just lacking a bit. They just need to keep their foot down on the pedal and keep moving if they want to try and bag the win when they are jumping.
Yeah, incredibly clean. And that is an interesting look at who we could possibly get if we're predicting that 9 to go through to that jump off. What a list of names that could possibly be. Some absolute superstars, heavy hitters, as we keep referring to them as, and we can come back to them. I just want to be mindful of the clock ticking down, and it is a Rolex clock, of course, so we know it's going to be incredibly accurate as we head towards the sport. Shall we then have a look at the win chances, because we really want to know what Equeratings is saying we should put out, where Equeratings is saying we should put our money down, and there's no huge surprises there, of course. Tulane and Kent Farrington right at the top of that list, but so interestingly, Richie Vogel and United Touch. This is the story we were talking about earlier in the show. When you look at it head to head, 8% and 8% each, this could really go down, all the way down to the wire.
Oh, it's so tight. As you say, they're both on 8%. That's the battle. But it also shows what an open field we have. With those two riders being on just 8%, we have riders going down 7, 6. It just shows the openness of the field and the quality of riders that we have, that it is so hard to predict who is going to take the title, because, yeah, there's battles left, right and centre.
Yeah, absolutely. And so many to come. Those names, Farrington and Tulane, Monaco and Smolders, Callista and Gilles Thomas, Guerdat and Yash and Sit, Epillard and Donatello Doge. We barely chatted. Sophie Hinners and Sinclair. And then we cannot forget this narrative around the world #1, Scott Brash. He will be there. And as I said at the top of the show, not to be sneezed at, because he will certainly be putting up quite a fight and trying to best his buddy there in Kent Farrington to see if he can put him out of contention for this Rolex Grand Slam, and he will retain his title as the only man in history ever to have won, the only rider in history to ever have won that Grand Slam of show jumping. I can see the riders down on the arena now. They're preparing, doing their final preparations. We should say a goodbye to our viewers who are watching on YouTube. 7 channel. You can continue to watch all of the sport and us here in the studio for the rest of the afternoon. To everyone else, enjoy the sport that is to come your way. We will be back and forth with interviews and more analysis throughout the course of the afternoon, but for now it's time to hand over to our commentators.
Well, the stage is set here in St. at the Dutch Masters for one of the most prestigious classes in international show jumping. Welcome along to the Rolex Grand Prix. The Dutch Masters, a competition, of course, steeped in history and one that forms part